some of the first purported multi-touch technology ever developed was basically a stone's throw away from where Tim Berners-Lee developed the web. And that's what the iPhone does so well, right? It integrates web and touch technology, so you can touch your maps online, you can move through pictures. But anyways, Bent Stump maintains that he developed some of the earliest multi-touch technology just decades ago. And since it was public, since CERN didn't patent this stuff, it just kind of got swept up into the sort of slipstream of technology that would wind up later in the iPhone. But the guy who really put it on the table so that Apple could see it was Wayne Westerman, who has this incredible story. He's this brilliant engineer from the Midwest who comes from a family that is plagued by disability, and he had severe hand disabilities. So when he was a PhD student,
this is RSI stuff, right?
RSI,
it wasn't. Yeah, this wasn't.
Tendinitis.
Yeah. I mean, from tapping on a keyboard, it was killing him.
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to write his PhD dissertation, and he just couldn't write. He just had to stop. So he looked around at the market to see if there's any alternatives to these hard keyboards, which were at the time even more cumbersome, and there weren't any. So he trained some of the algorithms that he had been working on for the AI stuff to try to start recognizing gestures and swiping. And pretty soon he came up with this pad that, one, let him do his PhD, and B, seemed like a pretty good alternative for people who had this problem with their hands. So instead of just always typing, it was a much lighter touch, and you could do a lot of things with swiping and gestures, and the vocabulary was actually a lot larger than what we can do with the iPhone today. But he started manufacturing this product called Fingerworks, and it was beloved by a small percentage of users, people who had repetitive strain injuries, one, and people who were kind of like into creative computing, kind of editors, music software users, people who were kind of thought it was cool that you could like swipe and do little gestures. And it was an opaque black pad that you'd use like next to your mouse or next to the keyboard. It wasn't on a screen yet. But so a junior engineer at Apple just happened to bring one of these in. And these guys that I mentioned earlier who are doing this, this sort of freewheeling experimentation saw this junior engineer's Fingerworks pad, and they said, "What's that? That looks interesting." And that literally became the focal point for their experiments, and that was what was under the projector when they wheeled in a projector screen to sort of combine this touch sensing unit. They put just literally a piece of paper over it, and then they beamed down the home screen of a Mac at the time, hacked the software a bit so you could touch Mac software, and that was what really sparked the entire trajectory of the iPhone project.